All right, super awesome. So I was yesterday at a college in Hyderabad where I met about 350, 400 girls, coaching them on some soft skills here and there. And I asked them a question. How many of you have a LinkedIn profile? One person raised their hand in that college, right? And then I asked them, how many of you have an Instagram profile, right? All of them raised their hands. Now, what I'm getting to is, in the last 15 to 20 years, digital transformation has happened massively, right? We are all surrounded by algorithms. We are surrounded by these networks that tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And apparently, they know exactly what we need at 2, at 10, or even at 9 in the morning. But this is not how humans were born to live. But can we then fight saying technology is bad? No, it's not. Everything is a computation right now. And when we look back, and if you had asked me 10 years back, hey Narayanan, what would your basic needs be? My answer would have been simple, but relatable, right? Food, clothing, shelter. But after having lived the last 10 years quite differently, after having dropped out of conventional education, after having lived my entire life in the last 10 years on my own, after having traveled 20 plus countries with my own money, and having started a business, a podcast, and now recently learning how to DJing, I've realized the answer to that question of what my basic needs could be, along with food, shelter, and clothing, I'll say meaningful learning experiences as a fourth add-on. The reason I say that is because technology transformation is not going to stop. But what's going to stop is our intent to learn, our intent to create newer experiences. As a lot of speakers here said, that after the age of 30 or 35, you become less curious. But why is that? That's because these technologies are controlling how we behave. And we can change that. And the solution to this big question of how do I fit in, how do I get a career in such a transforming digital age, is engineering still relevant, is psychology still relevant, is other subjects that are being taught relevant or not? If that's the question, I'll give you an answer that's part of a two-faced coin. Something that looks like an infinity loop. In the middle, there is a meaningful learning experience. On the left side, there's an institutional responsibility. And on the right side, there's an individual responsibility. Right? But before I get to that framework, let me tell you a small story of why I quit conventional education. So I joined a very, very eminent institution in Chennai about 11 years back. And I took the closest to engineering, but farther away from 4 years degree. Right? I took applied physics as my, something connected to engineering. Right? Took applied physics, 3 years course. I could save 1 year. Per semester, this was 10,000 rupees. So my parents wouldn't have to spend 4, 5, 6, 8. I don't know how much you guys spend these days, but I spent 90,000 in the 3 years of college altogether, including exam fees. But in the final year, I realized that there's something missing. And what is that missing part? They were trying to teach a physicist, someone who would probably go and research about how the world works, the physical environment. They were teaching us a subject for 2 semesters called religion. Now I'm all for religion, right? Because my parents believe in God. But then, if you try to make me sit in a classroom and teach me something that I'm not connected with, the best way for me to learn is to step out. And that's exactly what I did, which is probably 1 out of a million students who do that, right? Now when I stepped out, I had a very similar journey like most of these eminent speakers here. I went and started flipping burgers at McDonald's. That was my first job experience. Picked up the mop, cleaned trays, made non-veg burgers, which I was not used to back then. But there is where my MBA actually happened. I learned the key ingredients to build the career that I'm pursuing right now, after 11 years. And the other part here is not just doing these works while you're in college, but actually stepping out and creating bonds, collaboration, and improving your communication. That's where this two-side approach comes. Because we always try to blame the system is wrong. The education system hasn't evolved. The syllabus is the same. The professors are not teaching well. But where we forget, our issue is that we are part of the problem. We are, as students and learners of society, we are part of the system. Which means the one thing we have to do is take this in our hand. The 4 steps that institutions can implement is by teaching kids these 4 important skills so they can get best career opportunities in this digital era in the next 5 to 10 years. The first one is critical thinking. The second one is communication. Third, collaboration. And the fourth one, something that not a lot of people care about, creativity. Now, how did I learn all of this outside the classroom? I learned critical thinking because I knew I had the right skills to quit college, to drop out, not take degree, but still learn outside my classroom. How to speak with people. How to organize a marathon, one of the biggest ones in Chennai, when I was nearly 20 years of age. And this allowed me to take the decision, a very critical decision, to step out of conventional education. And did that stop me from getting or earning high amount of money when I got into my first job? Not at all. They paid me $1 lakh every month, even though I didn't have a degree. But I had the choice to learn the right skills that allowed me to make those decisions for myself. So it could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, it could be any technology that you pick up today. The idea here is to not just be a consumer, but learn the art behind it, learn the science behind it, so you can take control of making your own decisions. The second one is communication, and we often feel communication is only language oriented. It's not. It's how you carry yourself, it's what you wear every day, it's where you feel the most comfort, and how easily you're able to communicate one idea from here or here to a group of people or even one person. And communication is so important, right? If a kid doesn't start saying something when he's 2 years old, the mother wouldn't know whether he's angry, hungry, or irritated. Right? And when you're 21, if you don't have that communication built up between your peers and your family, you're not able to communicate who you like, what you like, or where you want to go and study. And the same goes on forever. So communication is very important. Institutions can help students learn how kids of your age, or students of your age, can learn this. The third and the most important part is collaboration. The world will never work without collaboration. If someone comes and tells me that the world can just work on technology, probably they're wrong. Without people putting their brains together and working towards that one common goal, the world will not move forward. And not merely by putting you guys in groups that you don't want to be part of. When you're doing your engineering, they put you in 5 groups, group of 5, ask you to do a project that you don't even know anything about, or don't even want to work on it. But the real collaboration happens while you're managing events such as this, where uncertainty is thrown at you and the projector stops working. What do you do at that time? And these are the kind of kids that probably end up making big in life as well. The final thing, which all of us are probably really attached to when we were young, is creativity. All of us either liked dancing, singing, painting, or at least taking a stroll in the park when we were young. All of that has been stopped while we enter college and then thereafter, because the essence of what will I gain from it goes away. We all have been sitting in classrooms for 14 plus years of our life before we step out of the world. And every time the bell rings and you enter the classroom, it's a transaction that happens. It's like you are a piggy bank and the professor comes and puts money into you, and the moment a sheet of paper is kept in front of you, that's like the cashier's check. You've got to take the money out and blurt exactly how they gave it to you. If you're not creative, world outside will look exactly how they taught you. But if you're creative, the world will look exactly how you imagine here. That's how people like Elon Musk imagine they can send rockets, not just for themselves, but for a government agency called NASA. They were creative. And a lot of us are. Most of us are. Now that's something that institutions can do. But what about us, the power that we have? There are three things that we can also do. It connects to our brain, our heart, and our hands. The brain to reflect, the heart to feel, and the hand to do. Right? From your brain, you reflect the things that you consume on a daily basis. If you don't go back home and reflect what kind of conversations you have with your friends, if you don't reflect back on what Narayanan is talking right now, after you go back home, all of this makes no sense, neither to you, neither to me. When you reflect back, your brain creates newer connections. You're able to make meaning out of life. Whether it's even a song that you listen to, if you don't reflect back on that song, that one portion of that song doesn't even make sense to you. But if you do reflect, a lot of it makes sense. The second thing is to feel, and I think while we're on our phones or on our laptops, the feeling goes away. But we as human beings, when the civilization started, we were communities. But have we stopped feeling? I think we've not stopped feeling, but we've stopped communicating our feelings to people. We've stopped saying, I love you, or I like you, a little lesser than how it used to be before. And when you stop doing that, what happens is the world becomes just humans walking around and no connections being formed. So the first connection you make is through your brain. The second connection you make is through connecting with hearts of other people. And that's how leaders are formed, right? A leader does not just say mere words, but he connects to you. He takes you forward. Doesn't motivate you, but inspires you. And that's because he's touched a chord of feeling in your heart. And if students stop doing that, if we stop feeling, we stop going to vote outside. We don't select our leaders anymore because we don't feel anything. We stop doing the things that we want to do because we don't feel anything. Right? The final thing is the hand, and that's a very important bit, engagement. If you as students stop engaging with the real world outside, if you stop taking risks when you don't have any responsibilities, your risk appetite after 15, 20 years will be on the lower side. I don't come from a family that could have funded my startup, but here I am. 150 people and about 400 offer letters for the next year in place because I, at an early age, got the risk appetite. And now I'm able to do that because my engagements with people are high level. So if you feel that the future is shadowed, if you feel that you don't have things in control, if you feel that AI will take your careers and your jobs away, let me tell you one thing. There was one brain sitting behind creating, or at least talking about AI. So until and unless your human heart and head is not here in the world, things are not going to progress at all. And that's something that I would want you guys to take back from today's space.